Humorous. And did you sleep well?
No.
What happened?
I don't know. Just wait. Oh yes, I know. First was the cat, next was the youngest grandchild, and next was the next grandchild. So between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock.
But you had to say, okay, means physical sleep quite well, but it's disturbed me by my stomach. It's horrible.
Oh, no. I have no pain. Just wait.
It's okay. Okay, maybe we can continue to talking about Bodhisattva's view and conduct. In the today we have some more books about it. And this book you can to look at. This first sentence it says, the entrance door of the Dharma, it is the determined mind, or the sometimes say the renunciation. I know in Europeans they don't like the word of the renunciation. Just they use the determined mind, free from the samsara. Anyway, that is one is very much true. When you are studying really some Buddha's philosophy or teachings, first time they're talking about the enlightenment, and then is half works, half doesn't work. Then is secondarily talking about path, and thirdly they're talking about the phenomena. There's big reason. First they're talking about the result, enlightenment, and then there's put the questions. I'm in the samsara. Samsara, what do you mean samsara? Very complicated situations. Which kind of complicated situations? Just complicated situations. And when we concern in the human existence or our life, it is wonderful or not wonderful. One in the hand is wonderful. Yes, it is a true human existence. So marvelous. But other hand, we are not kind of freedoms. We need to go. Then it's slowly, of course we want to be permanently to stay here, but it's also it's impossible. Step by step, body is like collapse. And then it's at least before we departure one day sick. That is become the cause of the departure. And then one day we need to disintegrate. Surely there's no choice. And also Buddha, he saw these four unpleasant some situation, these four things. Then he put questions. How I can to run from that. How I can to make freedom that. And he says, like, if my family's problems, how I can to help? Myself, I need to go through these horrible things. Who can to help me? And when he grow up, he has this all the time concern. When he becomes 32 years old, very strongly, time is going very fast. When I see these situations, he said, I need to hurry up, quickly to do something. Father says, you are very stupid boys. Why, Father, to say, why are you concerned that? I created for you 4 palaces each season, surround you 500 Indian beautiful ladies, everyday massage, and singing, dancing. Enjoy it. What do you need to think about that? And she says, Father, until 32 years I spent in palace. You look yourself, almost become the ash. I will become ash, you will become ash. Who can help? And just these things, what you say mean, pleasures, entertainment, it's just very temporary. This is not enough. I need to do something urgently. I like this very much. Urgently, quickly. Of course, then he runs it. And when we look at our lives, then it's one hand good, other hand something we need to do something. And then we are talking about, there's kind of questions. Can I escape from different little sufferings? Even the make joke that the Buddha, he was in the of course in the part of the palace, but he heard one music and he couldn't to stop listening, and he went near, and then his wife is of course take jealous. She said, "Ah, darling, what are you doing here?" And he says, "Yashudaya, you know which kind of this music?" And she said, "My lord, this is the India countryside music. It's called suffering music." And he said, "What do you mean suffering?" And then she said, "Oh, you never have this feeling. No, until to the 30 years old, just enjoy. What do you mean suffering?" Then she says, "Uncomfortable, unpleasant, or something. That is suffering." Then he said, "Yes, in that perspective, today I am suffering." Like this, sometimes we have, it doesn't matter billionaires, it doesn't matter the president of the universal, it doesn't matter of the powerful, intelligent, richness, but there is situations, those materials cannot to prevent there's some feeling. This kind of materials cannot protect in our mind. And we need to experience our own individual self. That moment, who can to help? Not money, not power, not title. And we need to something, feeling or realization or some kind of self-confidence. And then there's the questions. And how I can to escape? Can I a little bit to manage? And you know, in some teachings is, that is we're talking about enlightenment. Oh, really? Okay. enlightenment reality is no need to go to some place, and we don't need to buy, we don't need to get any, or maybe, yes, but maybe not. But anyway, enlightenment means it's like inner mind realization. And then, if we understood that, then there's kind of enthusiastic, kind of aspiration. Wow, I want to be enlightenment. Enlightenment. Through the mind, or the mind is it. For example, in Tibet Buddhism, they call the pith instructions. Masters, can I give me your pith instructions? I want to become the masters, you know. Masters. Mastery of the masters. What does it mean? You need to become the mastery over of our own or your own mind and your own appearances. At the moment, we are not mastery of our own mind and the appearances. We are like kind of slave, worker, of the service of the mind, and those appearances very much deceptive, charming, and attractive, and totally is the cheater. And it is the truth when we look at these appearances. May we think these appearances is truly existence. That is maybe something we find with a nice appearance, like these flowers. Wow, wonderful. I want this. Okay, you want? Give. What is reality? To look more and more close to look, and kind of the emptiness, kind of the nonsense is coming. It is really true. Like Buddha, he said, outer appearances, it is like a dream, hallucination, and like magic illusion, or mirage, echo. It is truth. Who can to say it is not? Even you can to argue with science, very intelligent. They talking about all the appearances, like try to definitively describe that and this. But really you can cross. Science is very fantastic sometimes. I was talking with my student. He is like a doctor. It's university. Specifically, this person is like mathematician or mathematician. And he wrote books about the science and the maths. So fantastic. And we are talking about existence and no existence. And he's talking about like this, that. And then I ask just between particle and anti-particle. You know, electronic, these three building blocks of all our universal or all the phenomenal things. These three are impossible to separate it. Like basic, like source of the everything. Particle and anti-particle and electronic or electrons. Then I make joke. Particle itself has particle, anti-particle. Anti-particle itself has particle, anti-particle. How can you go to deep to separate it? This person said, wow, I never think like this. And can you, the phenomena, yesterday phenomena coming to here, this phenomena going to tomorrow, how is connected between there is times. But the analysis, they are very fantastic. He just cannot talk. Few minutes just saying, what can I reply? And he studied it very well. And something almost is coming, the tear. Something is to understand inside. Then I thought, wow, so when you study the education of the science, some is very fantastic. Then you study the Buddha's philosophy, it's very easy. I think therefore, holiness all the time is meeting every year in India, science and the Buddha's teaching, sharing. And so I have one student in Sweden, I don't want to say it. This person is very angry with holiness. Why holiness doing like this? Science wants to destroy all the like religious. And one day also they make problems. And I said, maybe they have reason. You know, holiness to say that science, please, more research Buddha's teaching, more research. If you find out something is unbelievable, like kind of self-fake, or something is not truth, of course you don't need to follow it, but even he said, myself, I will give up. Omniscient, and the Buddha's teachings, 84,000 teachings inside, one word is something you say, that's not correct. Then we need to give up. We don't need to follow it. Like this is a science, is like a very much the analysis, investigation, and to study the philosophy very close. Many now science accepted empty nature, accepted the inevitable of the causalities, not causalities. In the relatively like inevitable causalities, there's no choice. If there is like kind of the exaggerations and like mysterious something, then of course we can do more analyzing. But good things is like when we analyze Buddha's teachings, he said, I will tell you if it is not true. If it's you analyze something not true, you never accept, never swallow. This can be freedom. Anyway, sometimes what I'm saying is a science to analyze. For our perspective, we need to a little analyze our life without analysis. Oh, yes, it's like this, it's like my own way. We have like this kind of, probably I believe that. That is maybe also wrong. Why you believe? You need to reasonable. And particularly some in Buddhist perspective, also there is, we call the stupid faith. Oh yeah, yes, you know, and go to Tibet, we call the Lamaism here. And it says Lama, then the faith, devotions, blah, 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 blah. It's diplomatic problems. Diplomatic, you want to say? Like that. And without, or saying that Lamas has a power, Lamas has a realization, maybe blessings, without analysis, without checking, without investigating, and put first times inconceivable devotion, faith, and certainly we see something, we lost. Then afterwards, totally we lost. For example, in my areas, one Tibet guy visited to the holiness. First time he was so faith, devotion, I want to see holiness. And then he visited, and he got like interviews. And then he come back, and people say, oh, you are lucky, and you are visited the holiness. Yes. What is the problem? I don't know. He's talked to me, he's drinking tea. What are you talking about? Because he's talking, he looks like human being. Of course he is a human being. I lost my faith devotions. Because according to his devotion, according to his faith, holiness, he should be, looks like statue. And he drank tea and he talked to me. He looks like human beings. And sometimes like, without analysis, this kind of occurring like this in our life, a little bit to analyze which is like kind of really am I freedom or not? I'm really in the samsara or not? Yesterday I made joke. We talking about sometimes paradox between, in very famous Tibetan book of the dead, talking about 6 paradox, the paradox of the becoming, paradox of the birth. We are right now. And then it's like how it is to recognize and to a little bit to concern it is very important. Then certainly I'm talking about these books, renunciations. Renunciation, sometimes our Westerns misunderstand. Renunciation is hesitation, hatred, disgust. We are not disgust, hatred to the samsaric sentient beings. And we are disgust, suffering of the samsara. For example, in our life, for example, if I say my families, if one of my family is sick, or I would to say, I have such renunciations. Why? Because my family is sick. I love my family, this person, I want to save it, but how I can to eliminate this sickness or sufferings. The sufferings is we need to get rid of. And therefore, like a kind of, we need to help each other, and right now we want more and more analyze. Okay, we are materials, we don't need help from any at all. We are freedom. But spiritually, mentally, it's difficult to freedoms. It's something there is like a kind of problems. And that a little bit to concern and okay, to follow the spiritualities. And then it's when we enter into the Buddhist, then you say it's like you study the Bodhisattva's view and conduct. And principally you have one renunciation about the suffering, uncomfortable of the samsaras. Once you have enthusiastic, inspired to be enlightenment as yourself. Second is like maybe through your compassions. It's like as myself, I cannot to manage. How I can help other sentient beings. Maybe when we are your compassion perspective to concern the sentient beings, those are also is the wandering into the samsaras. How I can help to that, and how we can help. Like for example, we can just say someone's falling in the ocean or the water, and how we can to help, how we can to rescue. And if we are very good swimmer, and then immediately we can to jump and we can to save. But if we cannot to swim, even we jump in the water, we also die there. And that perspective in the sentient beings singing or the falling into the ocean of the samsara, how we can to help to them. And first times we need to study how we can swimming in the ocean of the samsara through the Bodhisattva's view, through the Bodhisattva's conduct. And that means it's through the Bodhisattva's path. We learn very well, we come to like swimming very well in the ocean of the samsaras. We can easily to cross the ocean of the samsaras. And then we need to help to the other sentient beings. And like these are 3 reasons. First, samsaric sufferings. Maybe we have renunciation. Second is like we have enthusiastic, I want to hurriedly, quickly to be enlightenment in this single life. Of course, it's like to be enlightenment also is not easy, and person should. And if we really to practice serious, for example, if you go to the in Tibet, we say it's like, oh, I'm going to the 3 years retreat. Generally, 3 years retreat, afterwards you have some sting into your mind. Of course, good persons, after you should to be enlightenment, and you have realization in your mind after 3 years. That is the very easy. 3 years is nothing for in our lives. But it doesn't matter 3 years, 4 years, 5, 6 years. Maybe it's to do. And this task is most important. And then it's secondary, it's really through the compassions, if we want to help our families of the sentient beings. And then we need it urgently, quickly to analyze the path of the Bodhisattva. And then it's a second, this in the book, if you can to read, in the Bodhisattva's path, this unique path, the crucial path, and the principal path, it is the bodhicittas, the mind of the enlightenment. And that is the really the necessary, it is the body of the Dharma, or the body of the Bodhisattva's path. And Buddha's 84,000 teachings, inside each verse, each word, each sentence is the connect to the compassions. And when we look some in the text says, I mean probably you already studied, there's called the 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas. And inside they say it's like Shavaka, Pachika Buddhas. All those practitioners, where is the come from? They come from Buddhas. Then where is the Buddha is come from? Buddha has come from the compassion. Really the source of the enlightenment is the compassions. If we practice perfectly compassion, the meaning of the compassion is the perfect view of the Bodhisattva's view. You know, the perfect compassion, it is the no dualistic mind. No dualistic mind, you're not desire kind of falling into the desire attachment towards your family or friend or societies. You haven't got any aversion, anger towards them like enemies. And very much you are treated to them equally. Then your mind is like kind of no dualistic mind, no dualities. And no duality means it's not kind of true side. And also if you practice the compassion or the like kind of the altruistic minds, the mind of the Buddhas, and you haven't got any aversion to the samsaras, you never give up the samsaras. And also you haven't got any attachment to the nirvanas. You treat both equally. And you both is accepted, bring into the path, or the intellect kind of bring into your path of the mind or body speech. And you have like no dualistic mind, and no conceptual mind. And this no conceptual mind, it is the best view of the Bodhisattvas. No conceptual is the killer of the dualistic mind. Non-conceptual mind, it is the purifier of the dualistic mind. We have the confusion, problems come from the dualistic mind. That kind of the withholding to the right is wrong, wrong is right, and the outside, inside, my side, your side, and like kind of perceive things. And then is what is right, wrong, we don't know. Then is dualistic mind all the time struggling, all the time problems. Therefore, we need to know dualistic. No dualistic, very much closer to the no dualistic of the your own Buddha nature. Yesterday I said the Buddha nature it is. It is no dualistic, and Buddha nature's perspective, there is no fixations. There is no fixated the samsara. There is no fixated the nirvanas. Both alternately occurring into the from that. But both of these samsara and nirvanas. Samsaras, it doesn't disturb to itself. Samsaras doesn't damage. Doesn't matter. You can to curve, you can to arise. Samsara comes from that. Samsara is burdened there. Samsara dissolves itself. And itself is the no dualities. And also nirvana comes from that. the body there dissolve into that. And that perspective, non-dualities, fantastic way, there is. But when we holding the dualistic mind, and something is like ocean is the holding one way, wave is the other way. That is the wave, that is the ocean. But reality, how we can be separate? And ocean and wave can be separate. Water and heat we can be separate. And fire and warmth can we separate? Our body and actions can we separate? I don't think so. And like this, nature of the realities, it has this kind of movement. And we do not understand, then we have dualistic, that is the movement. That is the Buddha nature. That is like holding outer, inner, and perceiver and the perceive things. And then this dualistic all the times confused and like become the donkey. Have you heard of donkeys? Donkey sometimes has big dualistic. He wants to, I don't know, donkey is he or she? Really? No. Donkey is only the boy, no? Oh, you have female donkey. Oh, stupid. And the donkey itself, okay, now I don't want to use the he or she. Donkey itself is look the shadow, and he has very hesitated. There's a ghost, look. Long nose, big ear, look. This is I want. Then it, donkey is running. Run. Oh, now sure I will separate it. Look, shadow is there. How this donkey to make the separated from the itself like shadow, all shadows. Like this, we do not understand. I'm telling to the Buddha nature, okay? And do not understand this movement. And then it's like holding the separate. Then there is dualistic confusion. For example, we can to say it's like, oh, I like ocean, but I don't like the wave. And now I want to take out the wave. Okay, take wave as much as wave. To take away one wave is coming, take out the wave. Until the ocean is disappeared, we cannot to complete to take out the wave. Wave is finished, ocean is finished. Exactly like this. And the movement of the thoughts, movement of the dualistic, we do not understand or understand. These are the kind of the movement, energy, qualities of the true nature of the realities. We do not understand, then there is confusion. And like same as we are right now, and we think, oh, outside there is something existence, I'm existence, they're dualistically, and it is not me, and that is the me, and like kind of separativism. One is the Patrul Rinpoche says, it's like, when we be in the Patrul, it's this pity instruction sometimes help very, very much. He said, like when you be in the Patrul, or like right now, sometimes you have very strange appearances. At that moment, if you recognize your own self appearances, you become maybe very nice. It's true. One night I was so scared, I don't want to history, okay? And inconceivable scaring. I cannot to sleep because there's something's coming, want to eat me. And when I put sleep back here, then I'm in the Scandinavia like a sauna. Water and fever. Take it out is my feeling someone's coming to catch me. And then it's scary until that maybe 3 or 4 o'clock. And then suddenly I remember this Patrul Rinpoche's speaking instruction. I think that moment I'm a little bit kind of sleep. Maybe I do not understand. And something released into my mind is, wow, it's wonderful. And then I become that kind of feeling. My body is like weight and like kind of stain. and like I'm in the sauna, but my mind is completely released the fear. Of course, there's nothing but just mind is thoughts. And then it's like sleep back is take up so nice. I sleep like at 5 o'clock, then sleep. In the morning it's almost 8 or 9 o'clock. Hey, breakfast. No, please, I need to sleep. I need to sleep more. It is like this. Something is if you have the, like in the PT instructions here, we're talking about the 6 or 4 reminders or remembrance. When you remember the Buddha, you understand the Buddha's teaching. When you remember your own individual root teachers, you understand the PT instructions. These PT instructions then is making the liberation of our paths. For example, if we study very well about how to drive in the cities, there's many different traffic rules. And then it's certainly you have some such situations. At that moment, how can I study it? How is like this teachers told to me in these situations? Red light or green light or something is many signs. Teacher told me that in this situation I need to do like this, and then we can do very well to manage and to drive into the cities. If we didn't study very well, it's just to enter into the car, to drive, and we don't know any kind of the traffic rules, immediately we can do accident, In Tibet there is one history, we are laughing a lot. And one guy, that few people went in Beijing, in the capital of China. And one person said, come with me, I know very well traffic lights. Okay. And then, of course, people outside sitting, there's the green light and the red light. And then it's red light is coming, and he said, come, now's the time we need to cross. And he thought it's like he must stay. And suddenly he ran, of course cars came and crashed him. And he broke leg, and then how do you know that? I heard, and the one is a right light, you need to go. And the green light, you should to stop. And he made a mistake. And like this, we haven't got any education in our path. And then it's a lot of crashes, We, generally speaking, we have a wonderful car, excellent car. This is the human car, human body. We are driving in the city of the samsara. And how we can to drive, how we can to go through this city, through the nice city of the nirvana. And then we need to study very well after how to drive, through the Bodhisattva's view, through the Bodhisattva's conduct. And like this, to remember the PT instructions, then we can maybe manage it. And like this, Guru Rinpoche, this second Buddha of the Pema Sambhas, there is one Buddha, and he says when we be in this kind of situations, of course right now, during the day, we think everything is like solid, everything is like this, that if we really to analyze, this is also like dream. And when we go in the bed to sleep, and all the outer organs dissolve into the mental and the alliance is like basic consciousness, and we dissolve, and we wake up in the dream world, and then it's like we have dream world. When we be in the dream world, also like same as we are right now, and we have feeling, we have like many things. And how we can to recognize that is through the view of the Bodhisattva's view and Bodhisattva's conduct. This is very important. Now, what I say these things, a little bit to analyze, to investigate, which is the important. Really, I wanted to be free from this uncomfortable from the samsara or not. And sometimes in the teaching says it's like we have this kind of feeling, everybody, okay, this life is just to have nice food, nice clothes, nice comfortable house, and to have like a little bit nice play job. It's okay. that is maybe more my religious, more my path. And beside that, why I need to follow the Dharma. Then it's even you push yourself. Sometimes difficult to study Dharma, difficult to practice. But first, this is very important. I think we need to stop 5 minutes. They are calling. Okay, 5 minutes.
Giver of advice is the first Patrul Rinpoche. Person Chuja is his very best student one. And like most times he's close student. And when you're reading this, sometimes small book. Oh, sorry. Don't get angry with me. You are coming very wrong. And this book says, firstly, since the renunciation is the draw to the Dharma, having realized that from the God realm of the Tushita above is the highest of our realms, and the down to the lower, 3 unfortunate realms below hell, hungry ghosts, and animal realms. Samsara, there is the pit of the fire. One must train in the path of the 3 yanas. Wherever.
Page 5.
No. Oh, yes. No. And, oh, sorry, it's first one, maybe I better to read, okay? It's don't laugh me, it's I'm old guys. The first is like, at first homage, you say it's like to pray to the good teachers, splendor of the compassion and blessing of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Combined Lama of the great kindness, you are really the perfect Buddha. Please stay with me inseparably as the ornament on the crown of my head. Those who have realized very well that everywhere is samsara is full of the evil, like a basket of the poisonous snakes, and wish to set out on the path of to liberation or practice in this manner. I can to tell you a little bit, he saying like this. And then is the first, the entrance door of the Dharma is the renunciation. And when we analyze the realms, 6 realms, 6 realms is our like kind of the basket, the contain. And it's difficult to go beyond that. It's all the times like turning round, sometimes go up, sometimes down, sometimes. Like there's example, if you catch the one honey bear, put into the jar or on the some glass, and they cannot fly, not like this. And in the some 6 realms, where we can to go, above of the God realms, down to in the hell realms. Between there is, wherever we go, there's, it's difficult to say, it's like a happiness, and like says is the pit of the fires. Must train in the path of the 3 yanas. 3 yana means the Bodhisattva's path. There is called the three yanas, Hinayana, Mahayana, and the Vajrayana. You know very well. And she is reciting, and these three yanas. Then in the middle, the things bodhicitta is the body of the Dharma. Really, that is the truth. As I said, the 84,000 teachings is completely related to the compassion, bodhicitta. And the Dharma, having sealed that all these beings are our parents, release that all these beings are our parents, one must give birth to the heartfelt friend with wish to attain enlightenment for their success. Anyway, it is like to consider all the sentient beings like our parents, our families. And we need to strongly wish to make free them from the samsaras to the enlightenment. And then we can to say that in the finally, now we are in the path of the Bodhisattva's view. The authentic view, it is the practice, the leg of the Dharma. If we really want to run in the Dharma, and the Dharma leg is the view. Then the view, if there is not very good, and then this Dharma's like cannot go to the further. Therefore, is the leg of the Dharma is the perfect, authentic view. Sweetly traveling the path to freedom, the empty state. Empty state means it's like cannot to maintain the nothingness. It is very important. Sometimes when many Buddhist people say it's like, oh, emptiness means it's like kind of nothingness, you know. This emptiness, it is we're talking about the nature of the realities. Nature of the realities, there's two kind of aspect, essence and the luminosity, energy essence. You can to say inseparability of the emptiness and the luminosity. This is like kind of how we can describe, how we can to express, cannot to say, then the example of the we using the emptiness. There's not nothingness that we need to state, free of the complexity of all the phenomena that appear in existence is the finally established by the sculpture and one's own intelligence. And we need to establish all the phenomena into the state of the emptiness. It is like complicity, the free of the elaborations, and elaborated or the freedom or dissolve into the non-fixation of the state of the Buddha natures. That is, and this is how we can establish the scriptures, commentaries, Buddha's teaching. There are many like India, in Tibet, many different countries, Buddhist countries. There are such great masters. They made some scripture, like kind of commentary. Also we have 84,000 of the Buddha own scriptures. Through that, and the own intelligent and the own individual teachers, the explanation. There's three logical scripture, our own intelligent, your own teachers' explanations to establish all the phenomena in the view, authentic view of the Bodhisattvas. How it is like this. The root of all the phenomena of the samsara and nirvana is one's own mind. Now it is like all the phenomena are introduced into the empty state. Empty state is introduced through the mind. How it is the mind? Mind is the reality, mind is the root of the samsara, root of the nirvana, root of all the phenomena. And maybe we can to say it's like, my root is not your mind. Your root is not me. It's like my phenomena is phenomena. Myself is, how is my mind is become the source of the everything. But if you haven't got mind, how you can to say everything? Maybe there's no mind, maybe there's no you, no meaning, nothing after inner. No mind, what we can do say sentient beings, what we can do say the suffering, happiness, samsara or nirvana, without mind. And this type of never says that is the samsara, that is the nirvana. There's nothing. Only the mind is can to divide it, mind to say, mind is like kind of a source. Therefore, the root of the phenomena, samsara nirvana. Now we need to look at the mind itself. First, the mind has no origin. In the middle, there is a mind that hasn't got any state, body, place. Finally, the natural state, there's no kind of the destination. State is free of the coming and the going. That is the really authentic view of the Bodhisattvas. That is, we need to analyze everything again and again. If you look at the mind itself, all mind that is the free of the origin, remain and going. In the non-seeing, have seeing one's own face. One sees that it is the empty, the nature of the mind is the one other the emptiness. Then one sees unobstructedly without object, that is the perfect view. You know, it is like when we look at the mind, no origination, no body place, no destinations. And just to see something is clearly empty. That is the face, feature, and direct look at itself. This is the own face. And that is the emptiness. The nature of the mind is no other than the emptiness. You know, forms emptiness, emptiness is forms. Mind itself is the empty, empty itself is the form. And when we are yesterday, I just to simple say, maybe it's the help to you, probably. For example, sometimes when look at your mind and then it's like mind is like wisdom, that commandment, look is the wisdom. Look at the mind as, yes, clearly emptiness, I see. You maintain and that through your mindfulness is not very much corrected. You just you preserved or emptiness. Then it's a constant emptiness. It's the Mahayanas view is not that. You find something, finder of the emptiness. This emptiness is not different than the mind. Mindfulness, the finder of the emptiness itself to maintain and to meditate, that is the Mahayanas. Mindfulness applied on the wisdom, Mahayana ways. Wisdom applied through to realization of the emptiness. That is the more we can to say the Hanayana ways. Maybe probably you know that is very important. And that moment is like kind of the, you know, it's penetrated, transparent, openness, spaciousness is naturally occurring. That moment there is like a fearless is coming. What we need to be free. Fear, why we need to put something close, why we need to run, wherever we need to go, we are already reached there. And what is the we need to be fear, to have the panic, and everything is the part of the yourself, and you be afraid yourself, and what we need to something to accomplish, you already accomplish it. This is clearly emptiness of the mind. This is clearly the unobstructed mind, penetrated the mind, like kind of openness mind. That is the last goal. That is what we needed to realize it, like this. In the state there one, again, experience of the view of the natural conditions, natural condition. Whatever delusory conceptual thoughts may arise, it's possible, of course, and ocean's existence, waves all the time theirs, space's existence, cloud is naturally occurring, mind is theirs, thoughts is all the time, dualistic thoughts, no dualistic thoughts, positive thoughts, negative thoughts naturally arise. Meditation into the remain balanced, free of the distractions, absolutely crucial point, without particularly rejecting or the accepting anything
just ease. That is the point. That is, we need to every day to remain, to rest, relax on that state. And that is maybe is very good for everybody. And probably, if we're interested, of course, sometimes we have hesitation, then maybe we need to recite the mantra, more listen to the teaching, more like to do some virtual, positive things. And also without a mind that is happy, sad, attachment, or averse, and hopeful, or the fearful, towards the sphere of the appearances, and without affirming or the negating, rejecting, or accepting anything. Very much crucial pointers. Rejecting and accepting, and something this kind of activities never reach into the what we wanted. And as anything, action is the horizon of all that comes and goes. In a state of the equanimity is the discipline of illusions. And whatever is occurring, this kind of the appearances of the happy, sorrow, disattachment, aversions, hope, and fears. And everything is do not reject it, do not accept it, just to be keep at it itself. And whatever you are like the 4 activities, you know, it's eating times, sitting times, working times, sleeping times, to remain that whatever arises, to recognize this is the like kind of the display of the illusions. And that is like, that is the best meditation. View is there. The sooner upset to resume to view is the recognize one's own face. Own face, the feature of our own mind, nothing else. That is we need to. Maybe it's help for you. And the meditation is the remain in that state, nothing else. Yesterday we said many different karma body, vipassana, and meditation, the characteristics, non-characteristics, and everything's just a different method. The reality principle meditation is that meditations. And the view is to recognize our own face, When we maintain our own face, what do we need to reject? What do we need to adopt? What do we need to struggling, hope and fears? Completely free, transparent, spaciousness, just to be like this in perfect yoga, excellent yoga. Do you understand what am I saying? And maybe it's help for you. I don't know, so like, but maybe you can to analyze. Mix that well at the circumstances is the main point of the actions here. You know, negative circumstances, positive circumstances, everything is to mix that view. And you mix positive, the circumstance, mix this view and dissolve inside. Negative circumstance is also dissolved inside that. That is what we need to reject, what we need to adopt, what we need to recite, what we need to meditate, what we need to do something. And doing fantastic, you know, without doing, you doing very well. You do not to run, but you already to reach there. This kind of we need. Just, it's not kind of like a play. It is the point. It's not easy. Listen to the some Lama's teachings, explain. You know, it is just, no problem. I'm living in the democratic country. I will read books. Never. I can give you guarantees. And you, like kind of the, I mean, just, I'm direct, okay? Now, for example, if you say it's like, maybe it's like, this is Tibetan Buddhism, and this is Chinese Buddhism, or this is Thailand Buddhism. Those things that I don't want to follow. I want to follow my own way. Easy. Take care, okay? And I'm just to say it's the benefit. Really, it's like in the mind, it's like in Belgium license. First time we need the structure of that. You know, structure is like kind of the building up. You know, someone structured it like great masters. First time we need to follow that. One day you become the very much, your mind is become the powerful. You a little become the, your mind is, you become the master of your own mind. That time you can to take the shortcut. That time is maybe you can to do a little, enter there, don't follow your nose. I'm just a friendly or family situations. In our Westerns, many Buddhist centers doing like this. And once I went to one center, they invited, they said this, we cannot to follow you, we want to follow our own tradition. Absolutely you do. We make the talk very funny. Pick up there something, pick up there, this is our like new tradition. Sorry, is we need it. So, you know, it's like your complication. Okay, but maybe it's good. Of course, it's maybe there, but I'm not sure. You know, for example, if you need to go to the Stockholm, first time you need to follow up the navigation system, directions. Once you go to theirs, after you know the direction, you know, and then maybe you can to go a little tricky way. In the maybe in the like some village, some there is a good, you know. Then you can to manage it until there is like a to, you know, new age. There's many different says like, oh, difficult to follow the lamas. If you you want to to really to practice, that's a little bit to follow up the read. For example, sometimes the Lama Zopa is coming, some teachers, great masters coming, doesn't matter, listen, and how it's the benefit in the heart. This kind of is very important, okay? And meditation, view, meditation, actions, the result are not the separated. You know, view, meditation, action, result is combined together. You know, in the spring rules, have you in China we have lot, yes? Spring rule.
Yeah.
You just to rule inside everything and you eat. And then there's everything there. You know, in the springs, some vegetable of the view, and some being of the actions, and some in the different spice of the conduct. And then excellent of this cooking, these methods, these force, you know, view, meditation, conduct, results, ruling one, and then need every day eat. There is crucial point. You know, for example, you can say it's like you maintain your own faith in the state of the mind, and that times you maintain that is the meditation. Fantastic. You doesn't move that, and whatever circumstances bring into this state, best action is theirs. And then is also, there is the view, meditation combined together. That moment, so you have spaciousness into your mind. That is, of course, a little bit small, but that is the enlightenment there. For example, when the baby is born, just to come from the mother's womb, just baby, that moment baby, but this baby is grow up, become the big, you know. And when we begin meditate these four things ruling to like together, unseparately, without separately, to combine, then meditate. And this how to meditate, listen again, read again. This is very good. And also is the next one is saying, and the principle in the view is not being attached to anything, attachments, attached to teas, you know, attached to anything. This is a very much crucial point. Positive attachment to the positive or negative or reaper or not a reaper or something. There's a slight touch or the cunning is not very good to me. You know? That is, he's laughing. Don't laugh. Okay? Listen. Essentially, the meditation is not holding on to anything. Nothing preserved. Nothing. No flower, no wall, no any kind of nothing preserved. Something preserved, but this is like without preserve, that you preserve. Best possession. Nothing you holding, something is holding, that is nothing hold. That is the best holding and the best meditations.
Best action is the where everything is the according with the Dharma. And this is corrected. I don't want to say it's very much secret. Someone's they correct. I don't want to say it, but like this, okay? Quoting the Dharma is excellent. Then there's one word is they change the source like this. And this is the crucial point of the rule, like rule, view, meditation, action, and the result into the one single point. And you look at the hard treasure of the enlightenment inside that. It's like you analyze the relative truth, establish the absolute truth, and maintain the absolute truth. How is the movement? Look the movement of the relative truth. And finally, is true truth is become inseparably. Then is there's one pointed, one tested, one single like tested is come. That is like this. First time we say views like this, meditations like this, actions like this, result is finally is like coming together. That is the single pointedness. One is like this. And then is afterwards is just kind of advice, you know. After this, before what we read it, you can read again and again. It's sometimes it's benefit for you. And when you go to the meditate, the top of the mountain, nobody's there. Read very loudly and how it is. Sometimes you be in the forest, nobody's, only birds attack to you. Or in Sudan, you have bear, yes? Wolf?
Yes, yes.
But they are kind or bad?
Depends what you're doing.
Huh?
Depends on where you're hungry.
They can be aggressive.
And also you have the alcas,
Yeah.
more dangerous. But take care to them, okay? Okay, sorry. And maybe in the best forest in your bed, you know? A little bit from your televisions to open the some days they call the Tibetan meditation, healing meditation. And then the water sound, birds sound, and many different sounds. You sound open like this. Then you feel I'm in the forest, jungle, and meditate like this. You know, mind is really flying in the level of the sun and months. Then it's flying, and day by day and day, and then is your mind is more spacious. Then all the circumstances easily under the controls. That is we need it. Any dharma that does not benefit one's own mind, just moving, it is not meaningful dharma, unless in the made some different to your mind. Even during the retreat for the 100 years would be just tired something. It is truth, it's like this. And you know, it's like a retreat, recitation. This kind of, we need the crucial point a little bit. And we do not understand the Bodhisattva's view, Bodhisattva's conduct. And then it's just like kind of recitation. These things sometimes become parrot. You know parrot? And also it's in says that, you know, cats sometimes recite the Dara. Have you heard? And you go to close and you like make language. It's kind of recitation. And like this. And also he said, who have the, throw out the main point of the authentic Dharma and aim at the practitioner only pretends on the what you say, patterning like a parrot here. Okay. But this practice is, I think, the unmistakable teaching of the conqueror, not mine. And this is like kind of more give really advice. Do not do like this. To more analyze the Bodhisattva's view, meditation, conduct, and the result. Even if you have the completed our coat of the ears and mouths and things, and retreat and manage it to the recite millions and millions of the mantras, unless attachment, aversion, and ignorance have decrease in our minds. The Dharma I consider as just pointless. And in our minds, it's never decreased. Our attachment, aversion, anger, the aggressive, ignorant, that is Dharma is the meaningless, and it's like difficult to say Dharma is the benefit. And of course you recite the millions, but very aggressive. Of course you recite the millions matter if you are very much disattachment or aversion. Then this recitation, so what is the point, he say like this, and to give advice, he says. And the rituals like sessions 4 times a day without the creation and completions stage, point, dance and clashing and symbols without remain one's own the pure meaning, droning matter without any the meditative absorptions, all that can hardly take us fuel on the path of the freedoms. Of course, it's like very important to practice the creation stage, the dissolution stage, and to take the 4 sessions per day. And it's very important. What do you wrote me? We can combine to the 60. What?
To 4:45. We finish a little early because it's a little bit break in between these 2 sessions. Between
Okay.
4:50.
Okay, then we can stop there.
No, we can continue. We still have to.
Really?
10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Please continue.
And also matter recitations. And we need great samadhi order to maintain our own the natural state. It is the very, very important. And otherwise it's just a recitation. These things is like become the parrots. And it's difficult to say. It's like those practice things is bring to us and the freedom of the enlightened man. And like this, and a little bit to analyze the Bodhisattva's view, conduct, and meditations. And that is like a main, we can to say, is like a ground of the path. And if you move a little bit deeply, there is like a kind of the Vajrayana's path. There is meditation of the creation stage, dissolution stage. There is, for example, sometimes the creation stage, you have many tonkas here. This kind of, sometimes you should to look at it. Sometimes we are Westerners a little too much. Wow, for example, we can to look at the Amtaya of the Buddha medicine. It is like a really very special. I mean, this is like a Tibetan Buddhism, and like they did like this. There's a big reasons. Creation stage is the changing process of the habitual tendencies. First time we need good tanka, good statues. For example, when we are really we have faith, devotion, or it's like really interest to follow the Buddha's path. And maybe we can just Gautam say, Buddha Shakyamuni, only to think that sometimes it's our mind very strange, only Buddha. Then there are many different deities, like kind of Buddha medicine and that. To look at that, when we look this, this is the very much like kind of special, extraordinary. This is not like our humans' form, landscape, everything is like this. And we cannot to say that exists. When we look at that, that is the enlightenment. And it's like the pure of the pure land of the enlightened man. Enlightened is the body, enlightened everything is the true nature. The reality is okay like this. We look at the again and again. There's no negative thoughts. And then more put the positive thoughts into our mind. And then this is most the creation stage is the relative, not absolute truth. And because it's like then we slowly change inner patterns.
You listen to habitual patterns in pattern. And then so one day slowly to, it's like make big, okay, you, Buddha medicines, first time you look at the form, very much look at picture again and again. When you look at picture, this is the representative, the nature of the mind, or this is representative, the enlightened. It's like all the time talking positive things. And slowly these pictures insights coming in your mind, and then you can to take out the pictures, tonkas, nothing. You just meditate, you have insight, very vivid, clearly these pictures. And then you just open your eyes and you see the many things, but inner this visualization or inner your thinking of the pictures very strong and sometimes coming out front of the you. At that moment is sometimes these pictures move and kind of the jumping and looks like talk to you. And then slowly this one is like become familiarities. And then it's even during the night you can to dream this date, even the days, times, even you see the pillar, house, cars, sometimes you can to see the Buddha medicine. Wow, what is the going on there? That moment is like really maturing, like kind of matured into your mind. Then there is the dissolution. If you have kind of the desire attachment, and then it's we need dissolution. And then there's a kind of the dissolution, it dissolves into the slowly. Like for example, there's a different deities dissolved into the Buddha medicine. Buddha medicine surrounded the landscape, flower, everything dissolved into the Buddha medicine. Buddha medicine slowly disappeared into our mind. Then there's no fixate, any this specials, as in this book says, to maintain this, we call the dissolution. That means it's like kind of how do you say, purify your cleansings. Then is the creation stage is the changing process of our patterns. For example, patterns means we in the beginning list how many times we don't know. We have very strange habit or the habit forming in planting. For example, now there's many experiments. During the day you work with the computer and solve this thing, and then you sleep. Whole night you are working with computer. This is a habitual patterns. Like patterns to like kind of coming, projecting outside. Then we perceive ugly things. For example, 6 rounds is reality, is our patterns, nothing else. And in this case, is how we can to change our inner habitual patterns through these visualizations. Therefore, in the Vajrayana's path, there is a creation stage and a dissolution stage. This is a very, very important. For example, creation stage, visualization someday, this is like a very heartily, very good. I make the like kind of joke, okay? For example, if you suddenly you make some your lover, you are falling in love. Wow, handsome guy or the beautiful woman. So I'm totally falling in love. That moment your pattern, habitual tendency so strong, and this person's completely preoccupied your mind. And then it's day and night you are constantly, even the dreams, they argue and blah blah. Like exactly like this. And in our patterns, negative patterns, shine out, or like a kind of the project outside. Then we have 6 realms, 6 samsara, or the samsara's reality, our mind is project. Nirvana also the mind project. And we need to change our like patterns. Who can to change? Only through ourselves. Who can go into our mind house? Only ourselves. Even they say, Buddha say, how I can to wash your mind, how I can take in your negative patterns into your mind. I give you methods, and you need to go inside to clean up your house. It is the truth. Therefore, creation stage, dissolution. Sometimes. Then there's the same times as the pure perceptions. This is the view of the Vajrayanas, and very important. And now we need to stop because our boss said that. It's actually start, yes. Camera is on. And then it's okay. And our habitual tendencies is quite strong. And if we have positive habitual tendencies, then it's okay. But sometimes there's negative tendencies, quite very thick, dense. And then we have different appearances. I don't know in English language, when you say the perception and appearances, you know, this is I all the times translate. In Tibet, it's like you're like the subject of the mind. It's inside we have something, it's a tendency, spiritual. And like this is perception. It is perception is not outside what we appear, what we see, what we hear. And when you say the appearances, to be appear in front of the five organs, like sound, smell, and sound, so on. And then it's like inner tendencies, habitual tendencies, habitual patterns. And these pictures is very strong to picture these pictures. And then it's shining out, like projecting outside. And then as we perceive to some appearances very strongly. And like for example right now, when we look at the very carefully and to our appearances, form, sound, smells, and there's the five object desirables, or the five desirable objects. And there are, it is like during the day, I see forms, and we can to divide it, pleasant, unpleasant, ugly, not ugly, different dimension, different color, different shape, like this. These kind of so multitude appearances of the forms. And how it is, you know, need to check. And sometimes there are researchers in the Buddhist class. Someone says that one single mind is perceived all those things. And this single mind is the qualities. And there's other like researcher to say it's like mind, there's many different aspects of the mind. For example, mind is to see that there's a pink flower, and this receiver of the pink flowers cannot perceive the white flowers. And white flowers, perceiver of the minds cannot to perceive the pink. And then it's like each individual phenomena there is a perceiver of the minds. But that is also a little too much. And one person says, like the one Sukho said, that perceiver is you billions, millions different shape, color, dimensions of the appearances of forms you received. But the receiver is the single object. But anyway, when we look at the most, mind is the extraordinary. And then it's outside these appearances. We should to check again and again. Why? Because when we open our eyes, I just see the forms. They are looks like fixated, looks like permanent, looks like there is like kind of real. But then you really to analyze what is the real. You know, compare to the day our appearances and a night appearances. Compare which one is the truth, which one's not truth, untruth. And that is the very important researchers if we want to study the Bodhisattva's view. And it's something object, there is existence or not existence. Then once I was in Brussels, we are studying some, I think this kind of books. And one Belgian woman, she's very, very important, good questions. While I cannot to say it's like, you know, give answer. It's wonderful things. For example, if this electron gate, this is my perceptions and your perceptions. If we, according to the philosophies, Bodhisattva's views, the appearance is not truly existence. Appearances are the like dream hallucinations. This is, but there is one appearances called the electronic gadgets. I can to see, you can to see, 1,000 people to sit surround, to look at that. Everybody says electronic gadgets. To see that. Then this gadget is below the, who is appearances? Which person's appearances? Or this now final good questions. 1,000 million beings to look at this one, there is something. And that perspective you can to make it the proof of appearances existence. Like there is something. You can to see that, she can to see, everybody can to look that. This is not my appearance, this is not your appearance. Coming to see something like there is. In this perspective, there is something. Very, very, very profound questions. And that is the really, that during the days we have this kind of appearances. And then it's like a, when you heard like talking about the causalities, we have the collective causalities and individual causalities. Collective causalities means, for example, human beings. We have very much similarity body, organ, and vision, and everything. And that moment, we can to perceive this, we can call different name, of course, and maybe my language different, your language different, different names, but almost the appearances of this electronic gadget, function, dimension, a little bit similarity. But each individual, millions human beings look at these ones, never ever same ones. I see something different, maybe a little color, this side. You see that something. And really to focus a little, we completely billions
trillions of beings to look at them, never ever the same at one. But looks like, this is because of common collective tendencies. For example, we put the tendencies at the beginning list, same sometimes happen, then we coming together, we cease together. For example, like maybe in this between there is maybe hundreds of beings to live, working, and they're living, but they cannot perceive us. They perceive maybe us like a tree, like a rock, like a different. Maybe they think, there's a mountain, maybe we can go to dig. This mountain is moving. Or maybe some beings, they perceive us, maybe water, they are sucking. And we can't perceive it because the tendencies is different. Collective, they're called the Dharma or the tendencies. For example, in the Buddhist meditations, you want deity like to meditate, and inner your tendencies is changing something. Through the meditations, you can to see, in the Buddhist savas, there's 5 paths, 10 bhumis. And like first path, second path is not very much. It's path of the accumulation, path of the junctions that you can to see. Path of scenes, third path, that moment, through your meditation, you can to see something. And that moment is your inner tendencies changing processes, is occurring. And then you have different vision. You can to see that moment sometimes you reach the first bhumis here. First bhumis, sometimes in the book says that this person's go to see the hundreds Buddhas field. And you can to visit the 100 Buddhas, 100 maturation. There's something hundreds qualities. Because tendencies is changing, high is coming, your tendencies, the others, Buddhas also, some in the high realization, same levels, equals come, then you have different vision of the appearances. Then more high, and then it's like this kind of, and we call the Namanikayas vision, Sambhukakayas vision, Dharmakayas visions levels. There's like more increase path of seeing, then path of the meditations. There's 9 Buddhas, and each one is to grow up to coming. That means tendencies changing, and then you can just perceive more and more higher level. Like this is like during the day, wherever we see these things, it is not same, but similarities is occurring. For example, sometimes we can to take example during the night. Maybe we can to be in the like some middle of the peoples. We're working together one place. We are arguing, we are talking, and there's also we have a common object. And that moment is like someone's come, it's like this is your dream, and this is your hallucination, dream or world. It is not existent, we cannot accept existence. I'm here. And that time is like this day organs is closed, but mentally we have eyes faculty, ear faculty, nose faculty. We can smell, we can to see, we can to smell, and during the night. And also we can to talk, we can to see the valley, mountain, sky, and sometimes we are flying, sometimes we talking, and we see the many values. I make joke myself all the time climb the rocks. I don't know, maybe this is in Gothenburg. And I once climbed in the near here in the city. I think still we was leaves, we are climbing on the rock. We were a little mad, but it's okay. And this, then it's in the morning wake up, and where did those appearances is gone during the night? We have such, for example, I to say last night, I was in the big jungle and I saw a lot of elephants, lions, tigers, there is. But scary, running, sometimes working and sometimes dancing with them. This morning wake up, where those are gone. There's no mountain, there's no jungle, no tiger, no elephant. Even one animals cannot to come to the in my bed, bedrooms. Probably Katya's coming to my bedroom. Hey, breakfast. Hey, go to the teachings. I want a little more rest. No, it's time to go. I think Swedish women's like this.
I think so, yeah. Very strict.
Russians is like this,
Yeah,
Yeah, хорошо. Yeah. And like this is okay during the days. For example, yesterday it's like we was here. We talk a lot. It's yesterday this house. Yesterday our body. Yesterday what we talk. It's like something. It's like dream. It's absolutely. It's not something. Absolutely dream. But where they gone, we don't know. Dissolved where? Dissolved into the mind. Nothing else. And that is like if we without analyze. And then, okay, for example, we go to in the street, someone says, hey, this day is like a dream. Then we be angry. Bam! Are you crazy? Go away. Maybe they say, oh, look, religious people say. Maybe they say it's like this. Reality is like this kind of delusion is, we can do. That is to how we can to, how do you say, it's like to make, clarify it. And really how we can to establish perfect Bodhisattva's view into our mind. We need this kind of, and then it's in the Patrul Rinpoche's book says like to maintain your own faith, maintain your own faith. Nothing kind of, there is the fabrications, nothing kind of the exaggerations, nothing fixations. Mind is like become more spacious to maintain that, nothing reject, nothing accept, and something to, that is the views free from the elaborations. And that is a little bit, it's also sound, we can to say it's like hearing something, and this is like sound is normally looks like echoes it. Also smell, all the others, particularly the big problems are like phones, eyes, and very much torturable. This is like the, once I was this one place, we talking about like this, one person, don't talk, look at the front of my tie, can you hear something? Looking, yes, I can hear, but it looks like dream. You are not dream, I'm not dream, what are you talking about? Then I say, yes, what can I do more? But it's really to how to say, to be honest with yourself, to really to do something benefit. Really now in the Buddha's teachings, often, this word my perfect, precious human existence. The body in this life is becoming precious or not precious, depends on our way of thinking. And really, we got these opportunities once since we obtained these human beings. And now our mind is very much clean, clearly, intelligent. Of course, animals look, and they are like same as the human beings. We teach to them whatever. They are drawing, they are dancing. When we give education, they are same as the human being. But some in the conditions, they are not clear, they cannot talk, they cannot know something conditions. Like same as our house. Some house delight for a lot of opportunities. Some house very small, cannot move like this. In the human existence, mind is enter into this human existence. Mind has great opportunities, like very intelligent and like this. Then is when we obtain this human bodies, precious, and to do something, precious things. This is, I believe, very, very much. I don't believe the like body, okay, human bodies, but I believe the mind. Mind is, of course, this is not mind. Buddhism, everybody believe mind.
believe only into your mind. Minds can create extraordinary things. Minds can make the worst evil things. This is the truth. In this life, we want to something, some positive good things to be achievement of the enlightenment. I mean, it's like I am like same as the researcher. You said, I'm more stupid than the you. You are more, of course, absolutely. I'm like kind of the very sensitive person, as it difficult to believe and to like this checking, you know. When I'm in your society, human beings, I'm looking myself human being, I'm also searching the human beings. And historically, some is the positive human beings here. If you go to internet, there's two types of the human beings. Some human beings we call the masters. For example, my traditions, in the Longchen tradition, there's a great some masters. They are very poor, almost it looks like homeless, but hundred, thousand people love very much, follow. If they really collect money, could collect things, they become very rich. But never constantly like this, just to doing something benefit. And they life and never ever almost hurting to any single sentient beings. But everybody love and talking. Result is fantastic. When they practice more and more Dharma, they almost become more, mind is become more and more precious, happy, peace. And material level is they are very, very poor. For example, first Patrul Rinpoche, he hasn't got proper clothes, shoes, shelter, all the times homeless. Of course, someone want to offer, but he never accepted. And just like today, what he need to eat is like to have that. He's most time living in the cave, in the shelter, and then just traveling. And when he's teaching times to be really up here, the another times he all the times hiding like a beggar and wandering. But then I'm thinking it's like those are so happy and wonderful. In the human beings, very much kind of dictators, power, titles, they are like gold, money saved, millions less. Then they are like did horrible things. And historically, okay, you are human, but which kind of, or you can reach, you have powerful, you have high position, but finally also it's the almost killing each families. And also never they have happy, struggling, and like something like this. And in this perspective, if you really to practice in your mind, follow the Buddhas. Of course, there is like a kind of enlightenment. For example, first Patrul Rinpoche, maybe hundreds his students. After most like them is become same as him, very famous, very is like kind of life is extraordinary. And mean it's like himself is a very poor material thing, nothing, but whoever follow him to be very happy. And that is there's something is how we say it's like good positive things, I would say. Sometimes we can to look at a very rich family, royal family, but you coming close inside of and terrible things suffering each others. And there's more to look like this than what is the material things. And they never ever searching any kind of the Bodhisattva's path. They never practice Bodhisattva's path, Bodhisattva's conduct. They never Bodhisattva's view established. Only involvement of the materials. And that is like the finally the result is there's not much positive thing. Therefore, to do the sum in the life, to want to positive to ourselves and to benefit for others is to researching the Bodhisattva's view. You know, to think like a little bit, to analyze like this. Then conduct, Bodhisattva's conduct, as I said, you know very well 10 negative actions to give up, 10 positive actions as much as we can to collect. You know, one is the Bodhisattva masters,
the Buddhist, how do you say, the Shantidevas, Bodhisattva Shantidevas. He said, when we follow the Bodhisattva's path, as much as you step by step, immediately to stop everything, to adopt in our life, to run something, is impossible. And like step by step, for example, like today, this taller lady, she says, I'm try to every day recite 3 times the Bodhisattva mantra. And first day in the morning 3, in the evening 3. Like this kind of a little bit to keep the positive things into your heart, to do a little bit to say. Generally, like for example, when we are preparing our food, is a very big task. Sometimes I'm fed up to do this. I have no choice. And we have body needs food and drink. You give up, you're going to die. And in order to keep this body, doesn't matter how much we need to spend. Early morning preparing food and drink. Lunchtime preparing the food and drink. In the evening preparing it every day, cyclically doing. Because we understood that is that our body need. It's necessary. Positive things is necessary for the mind food. And positive things, today I did a lot of, as enough. Tomorrow I don't need it. Do not to say that. Today I have just a little bit times, maybe to generate like a Bodhisattva's attitude, generate just 1 minute of bodhicitta. Today I have a little times to practice Bodhisattva's conduct, like kind of the to stop killing, to taking care of other sentient beings, to the body, verbally, mentally. Or maybe you can do help to say, oh, may all the sentient beings quickly be free from the sufferings. It's wonderful. 1 second, how much is the virtues, how much is influence of the positive things. Wonderful. Life is to become something. It's a help to the ours. For example, if we can put this seed, put it in the ground, then we need each moment to fertilize. Fertilizer is not grow up the seed of the flower, but fertilizer needed. Also, sometimes you give a lot of fertilizer, that is that in order, maybe the seed die. It cannot to grow up. Or maybe it's too lesser to know. This is something every day. It's like you put, then there is like kind of maturation. Like this is like a positive things. It's as much as one recited the mantra, good. If there is a positive, I want to dedicate to the benefit sentient beings. And okay, it's like 1 piece of the bread, give the birds, give the fish, give the like something. Okay, there is something positive, dedicated. 100% surely there's. For example, there is long time was the grandma said. One is like there's his story said. One she asked to the Lama, how as like I abstain the human existence. And this Lama said, you are not like a kind of perfectly to obtain the human existence, but in your previous life, once you very strong prayed, according that you become the human existence. And then she said, how is it? Then he like kind of told to her, once you was in the one woman, this kind of town, this kind of place, and you have many children, but you are so much poor, and you are like how do you say, hair doing, how do you say, it's like, you know, we have in the like in European, like hair cutting, making up, hairdresser. Okay, she was hairdresser. It's like sometimes in Tibet have like this. And the ancient time is no oil, but some butter oils they're using. And the ladies to make the nice, like Africa way. And once she went, one lady she make the headdress, and she give it the butter, big, and she half kept. And then she thought, I want to bring back to give my children. And she's very poor. And she brought back, and then she looked, just a piece of the butter. If they, to divide it to give children, it's almost nothing.
Then she thought maybe it's better to offer the butter lamp. Maybe I will pray. And she looked around, and she haven't got butter, the really lamp of this container. But she searching and looking. There's one, the sheep hoof. How do you say hoof? Sheep like the you call the hoof.
Yeah, hoof.
Hoof. Yeah. And she found that, and then she made the inside something fire how to melt, and she melt this butter and make butter lamp, and she put in the sun. There's she just to say in the any kind of sentient beings, my situation posed to become the rich. He's very strongly to pray it, and to nobody's become like this kind of poor, like my situations. And then according that you are obtaining again the human existence. This just simple small things. In the word my perfect teachers, you remember there maybe someone's read it. One pig is running around the stupa. You know, as one dog chasing to the pork pig. Pig is running, and his tail has so much mud. This mud went to in the stupa's crack, and then a little bit. Kind of this is kind of making the seed of the positive, and to be the human or something like this. Therefore, some positive things is a little bit to maintain the Bodhisattva's view. Fantastic. It's more fast, best virtue, best like kind of accumulation merit to maintain the Bodhisattva's view. What in the say to look at your mind. That is the fantastic. Everything's there is. But sometimes it's difficult to meditate on that, and then it's physically, verbally. There is actions as much as it's a little bit, I would to say it's very much benefit. And it's also it's like sometimes our Europeans to say, once I was in Russia, and it says, oh, last year I practiced wonder very well, every day I practice. That looks like Buddha deities, that looks like happy. This year I'm very busy and I couldn't practice. Now they looks like angry. If I start, maybe they are going to punish it to me, or what can I do? You know, this kind of something, this is very a little bit kind of stupid. I say this. For example, those dead, the Bodhisattvas. Generally, when we be enlightenment, it's normal like kind of ourselves. Enlightenment means when you be enlightenment, then you are like becomes looks like sun, you know. The enlightened activities, according to your prayers, according to your accumulation merit, benefit all the time. The light is going around. And whoever to take, they can receive. For example, these flowers. Yesterday took the sun light a lot, and the sun is to become happy. Not necessary to say. Today the flowers go inside, they never take. And the sun, this flower says, today if I go to outside, maybe suns become angry. The sun's never. You take some light or not, doesn't matter. Like this is like when we connect to the Buddha and Bodhisattva said. These are connected, is the enlightened power, strength. It's like once we pray, say, may I become, you know, in the one with the Bodhisattva's path, come up, say, may I become the medicine for the sentient beings. May I become the house, may I become the necessity of the sentient beings. Whoever to see me, whoever to touch me, whoever to like kind of heal me, and ever become like kind of liberation. Say, I'm like the source of the liberation. According to these powerful prayers, then is a Bodhisattva, someone see, someone's touch, someone's hearing. Like for example, if you do that, like Tibetan Buddhism, we all the time say, Lama, can you give me blessings? Why we say? We think it's according to compassion, enlightened is like there is the influence. If this person has any kind of blessing, there's nothing to, then why we ask to your hand to put here? Nonsense. But it's like through the wishes, like kind of pray, aspirations, and accumulation, merit, virtues. And then it's like someone's seeing, someone's touch, someone's like kind of hearing the names. And then this enlightenment is like kind of become source of the liberation for the others. And therefore, for ourselves, to as much as to pray. The Bodhisattva's conduct, like really is like generosities and practice patience, this sort of the six of transcendence. First time to learn, and then it's like to how can I to do it. And the second really, you know so very well that each part, each moment is necessary. It is really, and it's like yesterday I did a lot. Today I'm enough. This kind of virtue satisfaction is not necessary. You know, it's like all the time until we become enlightened man. One day maybe it's like your mind is how do you say, virtue or non-virtuous. Both is like kind of the for your virtues, and the mind is like become tolerant. Mind is being enlightened man. That time is like a virtuous non so already maturated. Until there is like as much as Bodhisattva's conduct is very, very important. And then many books says it's true. Our self-disciplines, not given by the God or the Buddha or deities, not necessary. Particularly the Buddhist perspective is very difficult. You know, sometimes I'm saying Buddhist people's most like a kind of complicated persons. If you study more and more philosophies, difficult to believe. You know, it's like you become a very much the atheist, like kind of non-believers, like this, this. But then it's like how do you say? It's like really to your responsibilities, self-discipline. If you kill, if you steal, if you do sexual misconduct, if you give harsh word, there's 10 negative actions. You do like this, result is the negative. There is more belief. This is given someone to you, this rules, nothing. Because this is the realities. It is like in the relatively, it's if you're hurting, if you're killing, if you're doing something others, there's all the time it's negative. There's nothing positive. If someone's to do like this, and I make joke in Switzerland, I have one friend, I think I already told you, he has a bar, and I'm going to there to drink beer, sorry. Lamas cannot drink beer. And something, secret things are coming out, sort of, this may be old age, yes? This normally don't drink something serious to be so. And I'm going to there sometime drink coffee with him. And then is and talking, and then is his bar is so nice but scary things. Everywhere is hanging the animal's head. You know, it is really it's a pork, like a wild pork, bear, deer, wolf, and many birds is from. Then I say, wow, you have so nice there, the bar, the inside scale. And of course it's like a politician, you know. And then he says, yeah, yes, it's very good, and you know these animals might be killed by my grandfather, this is my father, this is myself. He's like introducing me. And okay. And then he says, now I'm very sad. Why? Because my son doesn't want to follow my tradition, wants to stop. I'm a little bit unhappy that. Yes. Then I say this, one day maybe those animals become the hunters. They're hunting the human beings. Maybe they kill me and they kill you, and the cut in the hat and put in the hanging something on the walls. What do you think? No. This is impossible. Like this, for example, if those animals to do bad things to us, it's like, oh, we are sad, or it's like that. We kill to them, and hanging the head is on the wall. It's how do you say? It's like this. I mean, say it's like someone's like kind of ignorant. It's what is really is like a positive or the negative, disturbing things. What Buddha said is like to take example yourself. Sir. This what a positive, negative, whatever positive to you, and this is positive. What is negative for you? This is negative. Buddha, he said, this is not given me, or this is not given something else. This is relative realities. For example, we look outside. There's so many green things grow up under the earth. And everything is produced by the four elements. They are self grow up in the earth. They are all using water, wind, air, and space layers. Everything is green. Looks like everything is eatable. But when we go inside, someone's very much eatable, good, but someone's completely poisonous. And then it's like we can to ask questions. Why? This is in the relative like this. Positive is like kind of positive. Negative is like kind of negative. And in this case, in the relatively little bit, until we reach the absolute truth. In the there is a what is the really too positive? The Bodhisattva's conduct and positive, negative to divide our, how do you say, to have the discrimination mind into our minds, and every day, each moment, to take the self-discipline and own discipline to as much as can to practice the Bodhisattva's conduct is very important. And maybe we can just rest 5 minutes, 6 o'clock. Where is the boss? And maybe boss is gone. Then we can play. Soul book, page 17. And even if you do have the creation and completion stage and meditative absorption to maintain this main like crucial points, if they are not linked to the authentic bodhicitta, the crucial point, it doesn't matter the creation stage or complete stage. All the terms need to link with the authentic bodhicittas. Then they are just the seed of the rebirth in the deceptive appearances of the samsara, and there are no help in attaining the state of the omniscience. As I said, it's like when we are meditate the creation stage and visualize like different Buddhas representative of speech, minds, and then it's like it's not linked with the bodhicitta, it's not linked the pure perceptions, and then sometimes it's like making more confusion, and therefore it is the very, very important, how do you say, it's like to connect to the bodhicitta. For example, when you are thinking the one Buddha's like Buddha medicine or Buddha any kind of true thinking, do not need to think that this Buddha's existence there is, they're watching me, when I recite, he's smiling, not smiling, he's lip, and never ever concerning that. Very much stupid way, okay? And like, for example, this I'm saying the green grow things, how they can to receive the sunlight, exactly like this. When we be enlightenment, and enlightened activity benefit for other sentient beings, it is spontaneously, automatically, and nothing kind of arrangement. All this enlightened shining out, and then you are connecting to them and yourself, and we can to receive something is like a benefit. Like a benefit is exactly like this flower seed or flowers receive the sunlight. Sun is be in the sky, luminosity all the time shining, and you get this sunlight or not get sunlight. Sun doesn't matter. It is like but this benefit like this. For example, you serve yourself as one to be enlightenment, and then it's like you be enlightenment. That time is you have statualistic or someone's practice to me. I'm very happy. You are good. I will give you some siddhis. Or you don't practice me, I will punish it to you, and then I give you something big, and never ever like this kind of, okay? enlightenment, when we are in the Bodhisattva's path, meditation of the Bodhisattva's view, and practicing the conduct of the Bodhisattvas. There is particularly in the first path, the path of the accumulation merit, path of the accumulation. This path accumulation merit, it doesn't matter the Hinayana's perspective, Mahayana's perspective, Vajrayana's perspective, this path is all the time path. When we begin, for example, there is like big kind of communications. When we enter into the path, someone says when you take the refuge vows, to taking refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha, that moment you are the beginning of your path. And someone says like when you take the Buddhist vows, you know, application bodhicitta, aspiration bodhicittas, and that moment then you are like kind of be in the path of the accumulation. Accumulation, there's three types of the accumulation: higher, middle, lower. That moment is quite, we are very, very much difficult times. Why difficult? Because inner very much strugglings and like kind of the inner warriors. And because in the beginning, this enter nows, we have such negative tendencies, we are struggling very strong. And then it's a little to achieve. Next one is the path of the junction state. This has the 4 stages: warm, peak, forbearance, supreme, the Dharma state. Warm, something is warm inside is coming. Wow, meditation times, like kind of relaxed body spirit, very much warm. And then it's the peak state, like kind of whatever you do, things supreme. Ups, these aberrances. And then it's third one is aberrance or the forbearance. Forbearance means any kind of negative circumstances, positive circumstances, everything you can to bring into the path. And you can do any negative thoughts, negative circumstances occurring, is not very much moved to your mind and very strong. Then it's like you're struggling so lesser. And spring change, immediately you be the path of the scenes. And then you see the path of the scenes, you have experience of the true nature of the realities. And then it's very much kind of real. Never ever we are falling into the again the samsaras. And then afterward, there's the longer one, a little bit path of the meditations. There's 9 bhumis we need to go to, but never coming back to samsaras. All the times forward and like this. And then it's a lesser struggling. But when we enter first to step, is quite, we call the path of the accumulations. And during the path of the accumulations, very, very important things. And aspiration, I want to say, most bodhisattvas conduct aspiration. For example, now we want to practice 6 of transcendent, you know. It's very difficult to practice generosity. Generosity is big generosity, middle generosity, like a small generosity. Make generosity to our body belonging virtuous. And this sometimes we have a little bit strange stinginess, sense of the loss, or I recited the Omani Padma Hums, but if I dedicate it, it's a generosity. Later, what is like if I dedicate, maybe everybody go to others, maybe also myself, maybe in this kind of tendencies. Never be lost, but the thoughts is occurring. And therefore, 6 transcendent, immediately to practice difficult, but to sit on the bed, on the chair, on the balcony, on the kitchen, to pray. Very important. When you first time enter into the Bodhisattva path, it's a very, very important aspiration. You know, it's in Stockholm we have one guy. He asked to me, "It is a truth or not?" The lineage of Holy Jimelimba, and his activities inconceivable in spread in Tibet, and he's become like very much. I liked the activity very much profound in Tibet, but he prayed a lot. Maybe calling that. I mean, he has like many books inside. A lot of prayer he wrote. like kind of Bodhisattva's aspiration. Maybe it is the truth. For example, in the common we know the India great master, the Shantideva. And also he all the time is praying, all the time is, may I become the medicine those sentient beings needed. May I become the great nurse. May I become the shelter. May I become food, clothes. Whoever sentient beings need is the extraordinary Shantideva in India's very, very famous Bodhisattvas. We know the Buddha avatars. Probably someone's already you studied. And like this, also for example, first Patrul Rinpoche, it's really everyday praise. And this prayer is like truth, or to saying, may in image, may I become, may I say, it's very much work. I make a joke, okay? For example, in our language, to say, you every day recite the mantra of the good. Nothing else. Good. Sometimes influence. Everything is good become. Every day you say the bad. Sometimes everything, circumstance, negative things, environment is just a sound is positive, negative. It's also influence. Like this, for example, most you look in the Buddhist prayers inside. When you read, go inside deeply, and then it's very much inside saying good things like this. Okay, this book maybe you don't do like this, okay? This book, don't put it on your feet, okay? Like this, it's like when we be in the path of the accumulations, and then it's a very important aspiration, and also it's a bodhicitta aspiration. So really, it's, for example, when you in the morning it's like get up, Bodhisattva's conduct is, may all the sentient beings to be happy and be good. May all the sentient beings to be free from the sufferings. May all my daily activities become the benefit for the sentient beings. Just easy, but very, very profound. And according to this kind of praise, your wishes become automatically. And in Tibet, some Buddhist countries say someone's very bad circumstances, difficult to get job, life is horrible. And then someone says, please to pray, bodhicitta pray. Then sometimes life is also very fast, the circumstances or the causalities, very fast, quickly, and the result is life is changing. And therefore, Bodhisattva's conduct, each moment is to prayers is very, very aspiration, good aspiration. And then it's like this is the basic Bodhisattva's conduct. But then it's like aspiration stronger and a stronger aspiration, bodhicitta, aspiration. Bodhicitta, why you say it's aspiration, but you see all the time some good things. If you go to Tibet, some good families, and all the time is to say, hey, long life, hey, good person, hey, all the time some good families, they have idioms, to all the time to say pleasant things. And some is negative families, it's like same as our Europeans. And something there's a negative word. In English, how do you say it? I never learned it. For example, it's like a very dirty word. We don't need to use it, but some families has this kind all the time using the dirty word, and then it's not very good. It's making problem their own life. If you're using dirty word to others, harsh word, and some a little bit unrespect to the others, and nothing prayers, all the time constant the self, I, then slowly life is going down automatically. This is not the kind of punishment the God or the Buddha's 100% sure. It's like remaking punishment our own self. And like this, and that perspective, a little bit aspiration, bodhicitta, when we be in the path of that accumulations, the Bodhisattva's basic conduct to aspiration, to prayers, and to say is like, you know, sometimes a good mother or good father to say, may all my children become wonderful, happy. It's like, of course, myself, I can to do make happy to them children, but parents all the time, may my children become a good health, successful life, may all the time. Parents, this kind of positive prayers sometimes influence to the children. And like this is very active. Like this, we become the parents of the two other sentient beings. And this is like Bodhisattva's first conduct. And then it's like aspiration bodhicitta. I say aspiration bodhicitta, Bodhisattva's conduct. And then application bodhicitta conduct. Application means to really to practice the six transcendent, to really to practice generosity, to follow up the discipline and practice patience, to diligently to do the virtual things, and also to practice the meditative concentrations and to develop the wisdoms, so on and so on. That is really is like extraordinary to do like this thing. This is like the Bodhisattvas is quite a little bit difficult, but this is we call the application bodhicitta's conduct. And like this. Anyway, it's all the time relate to the bodhicitta. It is the very important. For example, we can just say in the Vajrayanas, he is quoting this. The generation stage is like more the path of the accumulations. To generate means like, as I told you, it's like changing process of the habitual tendencies. It's those like kind of deities, these things is like, okay, for example, sometimes we say, oh, I'm meditating, I'm practicing Guru Yoga, I'm like meditating something my own route. There's why we can to say that? Because of the, when you remember your teacher, that moment we must to remember the pit instructions, not to kind of meditate this person's body and a verb or something handsome or not handsome or beautiful or not like this kind, or make happy or not happy. When we are like remember our own peerless teachers, at same time is to remember the pit instrument, what he or she says to us. We don't remember and then pray to the like Guru Yoga, to the root teacher. For example, in the graduate traditions, you know, once is like a Teru, there was a Marvalota, and his best student is the Mullaripa, you know that. And Mullaripa, he asked to the Marvalota, say, can you give me special power? And then it's Marvalota think, oh, I don't know, it's receive me from this Naro, from Naro I receive or not, he don't remember. And then it's like, he says, oh, now I need to go to India to ask really my teachers alive or not. And then he went, he was very old, but he went. Of course, Naro's already like died, nothing. But he went into this forest where was the Naro and just pray and cry. And this certainly Naro's came like kind of pierce. And what happened? I give you everything. But he said, I don't remember your pit instruction of the dismal, therefore I'm coming to you, said like this. When we like kind of practice the Guru Yoga or visualizations, and that means like we remember the teacher, sometimes remember pit instruction. Pit instruction coming into our mind. Pit instruction is a reality, liberator is the pit instructions. We need pit instructions. And without pit instructions, it's difficult to make the liberation of our minds. And like this, a little bit the generation stage, and we are visualize different like this kind of your each individual traditions. There is something visualization, you know, to thinking about this. For example, this generally Buddhist concept. Say we can do say Buddha's picture. Okay, why not? But do not think about like different races, you know. And maybe you think if Buddha is the was the Surish one guy, and then it's easy to practice. But he's India guy, difficult to practice. Don't think like this. You know, as I have in England, there is a one person, and this person is a long time to study Buddha. Then I say, just meditate Buddha's pictures. No, why? Because he's not British. Sometimes he is Indian guy. I cannot to practice. It's a bit, someone's become enlightened, but it doesn't matter. You are India, or you are British, or you are Swedish, or you are Tibet, or you are Chinese, you are Cambodia. It's whoever be enlightenment, this enlightenment. And we, for example, teachers now, some often I'm saying it's like this, to research. Maybe it's also these days, and wherever I go, to see, demonstrating, to research qualified teacher, electronic gadgets, like say myself. It's just the name of the teacher, nothing. You need qualified teachers to receive PT instruction, very important. And also to taking care of the lineages. For example, in the futures, maybe one day it's the Swedish Buddhism. That time is like depends in your hand, and you don't care the reading transmission lineage, empowerment the lineages, and PT instruction lineages. Like become the Bible. And it's very sad things. It's absolutely, maybe you're in the society or sometimes new ages. What we need to think about lineages. Without lineage, you know, we are talking about unbroken lineages. To just to sometimes like kind of qualified teachers coming, reading transmissions, empowerments, which kind of takes fullism. Our Western futures in Tibet, some in China, some India, Buddhism disappeared. Maybe Buddha's teachings now coming to our Western, you know, more and more. And then one day you are become the holder of that, and it has become like the Bible. It's very sad. For example, Jesus Christ is maybe like Buddha. His teachings is like we haven't got their lineages. It's very kind of sad. I often go to the Catholic where I live in Catholic areas, and I want to say I want to study this Bible. Who has the lineage, you know, unbroken lineage from the Jesus Christ? No, sorry, nobody has. You cannot do that. So just for example, if you want to become a priest, you go to the bookshop, buy to the Bible, and you study, and then you teach to the others. This is a little bit in the future. If you want to take care, I want to say, for example, in France, Maturika, wonderful. Have you heard Maturika? And it's extraordinary. Now he's how many? 25 years. He's followed his own root teacher. Root teacher is this thing with Chancellor Rinpoche. Still, he's reading transmissions, searching everything. Maybe in the future, this sort of we have the teachers, and to give to us fully unmistaken lineages to them. Then is Buddha's teachings alive, totally. For example, in the society, this kind of group inside, you teach it to the others. Maybe you can to look one book, Bodhicharya Avatar, 37 Practice of the Bodhisattvas. Maybe some sumo books. When you teach to support, maybe new something, and you can to say, okay, this one I have transmission. This one I studied with my teacher, some teachers. Okay, now I can to offer you. Maybe in the Buddhism comes how it's practiced. For example, this morning we are a little bit talking your boss, okay? And we in our Western sometimes says easy, very like a kind of not ancient ways. In the Buddha's teachings ways, there's the, you know, structured, like a kind of the great in the ancient time of masters. They're like, if you practice like this, they're successful. And begin and says this follow up the very, very important. They accept or not accepted. And then if you, for example, something new to teach, okay, sometimes like American, you know, in the officials meditations. Meditations these days very popular. If you go to the let's meditate. What are you meditating? Don't say meditate. Okay, meditate. Inside, if you look, what maybe coffee, maybe it's the beer, or maybe it's a guitar, or maybe love story. Sorry to say, that is meditations never maturated our mind, and just to become very calm, And sometimes lazy, you know. In France, we say it's like Buddhist people like mouton, sheep. Sitting like this. This kind of meditation, I'm not sure it helps you to like this, the profound, good meditation. You offer it to the really good meditation tradition, the structures very well done. Then it's really good. Maybe this, if you have some student, if you have some news, is teach correctly, maybe beginning a little complicated, but later this persons maybe appreciate it very much. For example, myself, is when I enter into the Buddhist university, begin, it is like a complicated house. And that moment, oh, no problem, then finally I haven't got profound the education. Maybe I become very sad. And then, but they go in the traditional way too. So, and then finally, it's kind of concrete things to receive. Then it's a very happiness is there like this. Maybe in the future, so like a little bit demonstrate how you can to establish that. And very important to study and like a little bit to correct the structure of these things. Is maybe I want to say the Bodhisattva's conduct. And then it's the beginning aspiration like this. And then it's the next one is page 19. It says, so hypocritical practitioners who miss the essential point and wandering nuns who carry out the task of this life of the illusory appearances, and little lamas who have no time for anything but possessions and food. God will be them. Tame your own mind with them. This is a fantastic advice to me. And really is extraordinary. I mean, sometimes in Tibet, reading again and again. It's absolute, it's a truth for me, okay? And I never like tame my mind with the like Buddha Dharma and saying something blah 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 blah. It's not correct. This is not kind of the Buddhist teachers' way. Buddhist teachers in the morning have practicing every day. They have great realization, blah blah blah. But like this is like me. Then he said that tame your mind, tame your mind, tame your own mind with the Dharma. If one tames one's mind with the full thoughts that turn the mind, then even without a view, meditation, recitation of the matters, creation and completion stage, one can't mistake the path for the freedom for the another self. Here is like kind of, we're talking about 4 thoughts, very important 4 thoughts. 4 thoughts thinking about your human existence, one, human existence, how it is. You know, in the human beings, we never ever recognize it is important or not important. We are all the time, oh, you are a human being. That's normal. It's extraordinary, you're a human being. You meet happy. What? Oh, there's a complicated, and it's like to be the human being is not very good. So, really to look at the close to our human existence is not extraordinary. In the word of my perfect teacher said, if we are human beings, if we go outside, maybe not they're shattered, not something very cold, but we can to collect to the firewood, to kind of a little bit to do something. Now, if we are animals, if we are like wild, if we caught, we can't do this, no facility, no, how to say this, intelligent. Even you die right now, they are choose to stay there, cannot escape, cannot do. You know, it's like a little, of course sometimes we have a little circumstances not there, and then we cry, complain, blah, blah, blah. And I have some, it's like a friend or the family is there, and a little bit of some things, and I said, don't cry, human beings, what? Make happy yourself. And of course, go to the cinema, swimming pool, and try to practice Dharma, wonderful. And to make kind of happy yourself, because you are human beings. Appreciate the human beings. And also it's like, we all the time thinking about permanency. Second one is thinking about the impermanence. When we think about impermanence, we are the impermanent. Sorry to say, it's very disgusting things to talking about impermanent. Of course, we used to hold it, I'm a permanent, I'm a forever, I'm a deathless, I never die. So this kind of, we are like kind of how our life is, how long we don't know it, but we are preparing for the million or almost like endless year of the like this. But when you a little bit think about the impermanent, it's bring us like into the path of the Bodhisattva. When you in the middle you think about impermanent, it's a support to you, pushing you to practice a little bit to, hey, quickly, hurry up, do it. Someone's push you is impossible. But you have the realization of the impermanent, then it's like kind of, yes, impermanent. And look this in the word of my perfect teachers, they say it's like outer environment, inner sentient beings, even the four seasons. We look everywhere, whatever we can to see, there is like permanent things, no existence. And in that perspective, ourselves is impermanent. And then I am permanent. I need to do some positive things quickly. For example, we say it's like tomorrow morning at the 7 o'clock. The boss is not there. And at the 7 o'clock, if I need delicious breakfast, delicious breakfast, I need to prepare today. If I'm not, oh, that's okay, tomorrow is something else, what I need to think about. Today just relax and nothing prepared. Tomorrow morning in the alarm clock says 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And now you go to in the kitchen, there's nothing, no bread, no butter, no porridge. And then how we can to get the like kind of the delicious, because we didn't prepare nothing. And therefore is in this life is able to prepare a little bit kind of to collected benefit for the next step. Next step means the next day, next week, next month, next year, next life. And therefore it's like impermanent constant, the second one. Third one is the like to think the causalities. And the causalities is very, very important in our relative things. As I say, it's like positive is positive, negative is negative. As I said, these green things, lot of green things. Someone's very eatable, someone's cannot eat. Why? Because it is the nature is like this. Positive is positive, negative is negative. Result is like this. And then it's a little bit to try to as much as collect positive and to avoid the negative things. And also it's like we just to forget the causalities. Then its next destination is where we go. Concerning the fourth one is the defects of the samsaras. And we go to again and again and again the toilet of the samsaras. There's nothing delicious smells. And at that perspective, maybe we can to quickly avoid this. And these are four reminders to a little bit to mix up the minders, and it's very much to help. You say, tame your mind, tame your mind. These are four reminders. And thinking about human existence, impermanent, and the causalities, defects of the samsara. And then page 21 is it, training the mind, your own mind should be trained. If you train your own mind with bodhicitta, compassion, even without contemplation, single virtues, act of the body or the speech, or well effortlessly and automatically contemplation your own and others' wish. And our like the body, speech, mind is the root is the mind. Mind is become a medicinal. The branch of the body, speech is become automatically medicinal. And that perspective is the mind is a very, very important connect to the bodhicitta, compassion, and like this. Okay, next one is what it says. Okay, maybe okay. Say, my friend, can you do like this? My friend, if you wish to practice some real Dharma, turn in compassion, bodhicitta, having reflection on these vital things. Repeat it many times over. Tend your mind with the Dharma. That is the essential point. And the next one he said, I have followed many authentic teachers and studied and reflected partially on a vast amount of the philosophical views, but the vital, essential point can be shown in one phrase. Don't just live in this phrase in your achtas or in the shaniram or in the texts. Experience in your practice again and again. We made a lot of notes to put this. And many Patrul Rinpoche advice, he all the time to say, okay, I write to you, but you just to keep it in the bookshelf is not good. So read, maybe this book is put in the focus, sometimes you can. There are many who give this and that advice, made into book, that one rule up and keep the carefully, but if you don't even look at what their meaning is, writing such a book is the pointless, just something tired someone said. Don't act in such a way, long life to Konzon Chuja said. Practice their meaning in your experience, long life to you of the Konzon Chuja. Konzon Chuja is name, the receiver of these students. And take the only advice I have, long life to you, the Konzon Chuja, is good luck. That is kind of read it for you, and if you want to keep that. And then do you have any questions? And maybe they said someone want to practice a reading transmission, launching